Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we're going to talk about modern women in gaming and modern men in gaming. And I've noticed so many other content creators are talking about this. So what is the problem? Modern women in gaming. We got a lot of badasses like Samus the Metroid, Warcraft and the Tomb Raider, even Ellie in the Last of Us franchise, and so many other good written female characters. You also got so many good written male characters. So what is the problem today? Why are so many writers turning our favorite characters into punchlines? And with that, I want to talk about the real reason why your favorite characters kind of suck, why modern women characters and even modern male characters are written to be softer and not as intimidating. But really, that kind of depends on the franchise. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the main reason, or reason number one. Reason number one, writers change over time. The writers that have written The Last of Us 1 have kind of changed their writing methods to fit a new standard. I'm not trying to sound like an SJW or anti-SJW. I don't even know if people even still use those words. But I'm just gonna kind of give my opinion on this. Pop culture has really changed a lot, and I'm not trying to be all edgy with this. For the real reason to why modern male and female characters are not as good as we remember them to be. Is because pop culture nowadays is kind of more left leaning, and a lot of franchises now kind of want to fill in a standard which groups are not being represented. Excuse me, which groups are not being represented, what characters are supposed to be written this way or that way to kind of support that audience, like the LGBTQ audience, or even other audiences, like other races, which is why you see a lot of race swapping nowadays, ethnic swapping, because there needs to be a quota that needs to be filled out before making these games. Now, back then, I'll say back in maybe the early 2010s, the 2000s, the 90s, that was really an issue. Now, as somebody who grew up playing the Wii, the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3, back then, studios weren't that big. Everyone made games just for the fun of it, right? Yeah, they were competing against each other, but back then, a lot of people used to experiment more, write characters that many people could get attached to, even the characters that don't really say that much. Like Crash Bandicoot, maybe Spyro. Well, Spyro actually talks a lot, but you know what I mean. Even the Pokemon games back in the day, before they all became boring 3D messes. A lot of these games, you can feel the passion behind them. And even if I critique these old games, you can feel the ambition in them. But what is the problem with today? And like I said, reason number one, the writers, they've changed. Like you notice how a lot of indie games are starting to garner more attention because those games are really made by fans of other popular media, other popular games. Like for instance, Five Nights at Freddy's started as an indie project before it became this mainstream mess. I don't really care about FNAF 8 or the new one that came out. The movies are okay. The second one was kind of bad. But that's just modern media nowadays. They have to write these games and these movies to fit a standard rather than writing a good and compelling story. You will get that every once in a while. But like I said, the main reason is to fill out a quota or an agenda, which is why you see a lot of characters sort of look differently, change over time, to fit a more modern look. And number two, my second reason, with AI on the rise, now AI are making these games, writing the scripts, and you kind of see how pop culture, even for gaming, is changing to make these modern games more predictable. And I remember I used to play games for the gameplay and for the good story, but nowadays it's like you are playing this movie, or some games try too hard to be movies. And that brings us to our third and final reason. Why are modern games, modern male and female characters, written to be so lame, obnoxious? And to that question, I can answer it perfectly. It's because they know that at the end of the day, more controversy is going to sell these games. That's right. The more controversial a game is nowadays, the more people will play that bad game, and it'll sell more copies, all just because the game itself is very bad, very badly written. The characters aren't that good, and YouTubers are going to constantly keep bad mouthing these games, which leads them to selling more. I hate to say it, but that's true. But with that being said, this is your truly signing out. Let me know what you think in the comments.